Welcome to another episode of the More Than Just Money podcast. My name is Alistair Hunt.
Leon Chastain.
And we have a special guest in the booth. So proud of this young man, Noah. What's going on, Noah?
Man, it's going good.
Awesome. All right, so let me start with how it is I met you, but I really want to take it back to your freshman year because your story is so powerful, right? So shout out to Ted Mackey up at Anna High School, connected me with some different teachers up there. What was your teacher's name that was over the graphics?
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds. Yeah. So Mr. Reynolds, he said, I want you to connect with this guy because I believe that there's some young entrepreneurs, especially in the graphic design, web design background. That's my bread and butter, right? That you'll be able to mentor. And mentoring youth is one of my passions. So I said, all right. So Ted hooked me up, and she hooked up Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds said, I got a couple guys in here that I really want you to work with that, they have their own brands. They're trying to develop, social media, and they want to be social media management. And so he gave me a couple of guys to work with. But one guy stood out and working with all of them, and that was Noah. And so at the time, I was partnered with my good friend up at Jacked Up Nutrition, Kit Lamb. Shout out to Kit. And so we put you as an intern, doing the social media and teaching you social media management at Jacked Up. And then we just connected. We hit it off because you're a young entrepreneur. You have your own T-shirt brand. And I said, I really want to be able to pour into this guy. But so much has happened. And you've graduated and went off to play soccer overseas. And we'll get into that. But then we connected back at Walmart. You started telling me really about what it is that you were doing. We were shopping. And I hear Mr. Alistair. And Leon, don't make jokes about how you start getting old when somebody calls you Mr. Alistair. That's it. And I was like, who calls me Mr. Alistair? And I turned around, and it was Noah. We connected. I said, we got to get you on the podcast to be able to tell your story.
Yeah.
So backing it up, freshman year at high school, and you were on the soccer team?
So my freshman year, I didn't go to Anna. I switched schools.
Okay.
And then I came back my sophomore year.
Okay, so sophomore year.
My freshman year, I stopped playing soccer. I went to a school called Williams Prep. It's like a smart school. My mom wanted me to try out. And so after that, it didn't really work out, but I ended up coming back to Anna. And so, I was like, I want to come back to play soccer. I want to play soccer. But I was really overweight. And so when I came back, it was heck. When I was the last person running when we did bleachers, I was terrible. And it's funny now because people were like, you're still playing. I remember you like below everyone. I was like, yeah, it's true. Because, I was, the worst player to when I was playing with them. Everybody was like, and a lot of people, kind of bullied me on it. They were like, oh, you're not good. He's not good. And, they would laugh at me when I made mistakes. But, mistakes are normal.
So what? Yeah. But there was a switch that happened, right?
Yeah, there's a giant switch.
A shift. So what was that shift?
That shift happened during COVID-19. So my sophomore year is when COVID happened, and so we had the season, and then after the season, actually it was towards we maybe had 2 or 3 games left, and they canceled the rest of the season, and we finished school online. And so I was like, man, I asked God. I was like, God, and I was talking to my mom. I was like, I'm tired of getting bullied. I don't want to be looked down upon. But, I don't want to change because of other people. I want to change because I want to do it.
Right.
And so after I did that, God was like, okay, start running, start working out, start training. And I was like, he started giving me ideas. And so I started training every day, running outside every day, every morning during COVID. And after COVID was, I even also God also provided me a personal coach from England who played professionally. He played against Pele as well.
Wow.
Yeah, he played against Pele. So wow. And the connection was through my mom's friend. So originally, and it's funny because when I was with my mom, I asked her to help me go train when I was trying to lose weight. And she was like, yeah, I got you, let's go. And I got mad at her because, she's not perfect. She's not a soccer person. And so I got mad at her. She said, all right, I'm calling my friend. I'm not doing this right now. Yeah, so she called her little soccer friend. His name is John. Shout out to John. He's a really good guy. And so when I went to go train with him at the Allen Celebration Park, he brought a friend with him, and he's a guy from Kenya. He's Indian, but he's from Kenya, and then he went to England to play professional soccer.
Wow.
And so he's 60, 70 years old now. And his name is Roger Verdi. Very not really talked about.
In his
guy.
age bracket, 60
nah.
70. Come on now, Mr. Alistair.
I'm never gonna live that down, by the way, Mr. Alistair. Just so you know.
You gotta be professional.
That's it. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. It's funny because people would say, "Don't call me Mister." It made me feel old, and I was like, "Nah." My mom always told me.
Yep.
But what I was saying, he brought the guy with him, and he was really brutally honest. But of course you need that when you want to get better. And so I was chubby. I was really big. I was 260 pounds. 260. Wow. And the guy was like, yeah, you need to lose weight. You need to be better. If you want to get better, you have the height, you have you can have a little bit of footwork, but you need to lose the weight if you really want to excel. So I would meet with him 2 or 3 times during the week, and on the other hand, I had a friend who would train with me on the side. I would train every day, train really hard. Then 3 months came by, and he was like, I was losing weight like really fast because I was working out like a maniac. So I was working out. After like 3 or 4 months came by, I was like noticing like different. My hair grew out because used to be really bald, like I do a bald cut. And then when I came back to training one day, he was like, he didn't even recognize me. Like I was just all of a sudden like it just happened so fast. I didn't even like I would wear the same training gear, but it just felt looser and like I was faster. And so after that, he was like, wow, like you really put in the work. You really grinded. You really did that. And so like when I came back to high school, of course I kept working. I got even more slimmer after making more progress. And so when I came back to high school, you have to wear a mask now. And my hair grew out. Nobody knew who I was. No,
Wow.
like they were like, who's that? I'm like, it's me, it's Noah. And they're like, no way, because like you have to take your mask off when you're not like, really supposed to take your mask off in high school. And so when I came back this was going into my junior year, and I was super more fit. I was better at soccer, of course, because I trained. And so took my mask, and they're like, no way. My coach was like, the coach I was trying to impress, he was like, what is going on? And I was like, yeah. And so like really just like lost weight, and that's how my after that's when I really started getting better, really started getting my highlights for playing soccer.
So now there's a lesson in this, because when you first came back, it's not like they put you as a starter, right?
Yeah.
Coming out the gate, right?
Yeah,
so talk a little bit about you've worked and done all this work.
Yeah.
You've lost all this weight. You've acquired some skills. You've gotten better.
Yeah.
But when you came back, there was a little bit of skepticism.
Yeah,
right?
there was. So the thing that I lacked still was confidence. And I asked, my coach was Coach Ellis. And I asked him, I was like, what can I work on? Because I was really trying to prove to him that I can play. And so he was like, you lack confidence. And so after we had a game against, I want to say, I can't recall the name, but it was a scrimmage game. And so he let me play the second half, and he let the other starter play the first half. He was a senior and I was a junior, and he was a really good player. So I learned a lot from him along the way. But after I played really good for the majority of the half. But like the last 2 minutes, I made a big mistake. But we were up like 6 goals. We were up already 6 goals. They 6-0. And so I made a big mistake, and everybody was making fun of me. And like after that, it made me like my confidence like kind of really dropped. And he was like, "Yep, you need to work more on your confidence." And that's like a prime example of what happened, because I wasn't confident when the mistake had happened. And so like after that, he pretty much benched me my whole junior year. I didn't play at all. Like I only played 1 game, and that was like last 10 minutes of it, because we were destroying them. I think I was in Cattle Mills. And so after that, I was like devastated. People made fun of me. They're like, "That's why you don't play. That's why you made a mistake." And I wasn't even like a rude person. I never like try to go against people. And people were just really mean to me. And so, God told me, He said, keep working, don't stop working. And so God brought in other investments to my life. So there's a kid that came from Allen, Sebastian Martinez. He and his father really invested time into me, and they put me on my first club team. And most kids join a club team when they're really young.
Yeah.
I joined my first club team when I was a junior, and I think I was about 16, 15.
Wow.
So like I joined like a club team kind of really, really late. And so they put a lot of time and invested a lot of time into me. His coach and his father did a lot of private trainings with me. And of course, I made a lot of mistakes when I was with their team. But like I was brand new, so I had to learn a lot of things. He really invested a lot of time into me, and helped me get better, helped me learn. He was like, "Noah, you have a lot of potential. Just pay attention to the small details. And that's something I really use now today. I always try to use that in everything that I do, not just soccer, because you have you're outside with your family, you have the other things that you take care of, and I always try to pay attention to small details, and that's the biggest thing that stuck with me. And so after, my junior year was over, I was devastated, I was mad, I was upset, but my grind never decreased. It only increased. My hunger only increased. And so after that, I was like, during the summer, I was grinding. And what made me more upset was that when my coach, at the end of the season, the coach was like, "Hey guys, I got to tell you something." He was like, everybody was like, I was like, he's going to leave. I know he's going to say he's going to leave. and he said he was going to switch schools. And so the very thing I was trying to prove to him, I couldn't do it anymore because he was leaving. And so we had a coach coming from Bonham High School, and Coach Gamboa, which I have a good relationship with him right now. He's a really good guy. He plays semi-pro down in for the Dallas Sidekicks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's still playing. He's still a really good player.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he scrimmaged with us in the mornings when we train in the indoor facility, but he's such a good coach. And so God had told me, like, your purpose wasn't to, like, impress the coach. It was just to better yourself. Yes. So, like, I had to rearrange my focus because I was so focused on trying to show Coach Ellis. I was like, I need to show him that I'm good. I need to show him that I'm the best. Like, but after he left, I was like, what's the purpose now?
Pause there. That's a big one because a lot of times, and it's not, sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's somebody that we look up to. A lot of times that'll get us started, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll be trying to impress or we're trying to prove or try to live up to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be able to start there, but at some point you have to shift that, right? And find your own reason inside to really push yourself forward. Or else sometimes that goal will keep on moving or the bar will keep on moving or that person doesn't know how to give you that love or give you that appreciation because it was never shown to them, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big one. I don't want to gloss over that whole point.
No, you know, I've been big my whole life, and I was made fun of in high school. I was made fun of in elementary school, all the way through. And you know, and I love what's happening here is I'm the oldest guy in the room. He's the next oldest, and then you're the baby, you know. But you know, but the short and the long of it is, if somebody's watching this, you know, you said something a while ago about taking the mask off. And a lot of times you may be younger and you've got this mask on and you're really getting beat on, you're getting made fun of. Sometimes just taking that mask off and just being you and being willing to put the effort forward is, you know, we live in a world today that world is more like a drive-through instant gratification. Drive through McDonald's, get my meal and leave, or Whataburger, Chick-fil-A, whatever it may be. You know, unfortunately, what you said is it's called work. My generation knew it. His generation knew it. Your generation has been, you know, hey, I just want the instant gratification. No, if you're overweight, if you're getting abused or you're getting picked on, you've got to put the work in to show change it and take your mask off. And being real with people sometimes is it's okay to do that. You know, and finding a great mentor, because when you find a great mentor, they can literally shift your environment.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think the biggest thing that does that for that short gratification is the social media, scrolling TikTok, Instagram, and I'm not trying to hate on my generation, but it's true. It's like that's why their attention span is so short. They can't stay on a simple conversation for a long period of time because they're so focused on what's going on in other people's lives. They can't even be head straight on what's focused. So one of the biggest things I always try to stay off of social media. The only time I'm on there is if I'm trying to post about my brand, if I'm trying to talk about business, if I'm trying to, you know, really like trying to make motivational videos for my soccer clips. And so like pretty much from that's what I wanted to add on to that, because I completely agree with you on that.
You got to experience the world. You know, one of my good friends, she went to a concert the other day and she filmed the whole concert, which means that she was here instead of being in the environment enjoying the concert. Right. So if you're looking at this little bitty screen that everybody else is going to look at because you're so you know, worried about what other people are going to think versus actually being in the environment. You paid all this money to come to this concert to experience everything that's going on at the concert, but yet you're so focused on the screen. And she literally recorded the whole concert. I could have went to the concert just from watching her video because she was there, which means that she had to hold that and focus on that. It's about shifting your focus to being present in the environment.
It's funny that you said that, because the biggest thing, this one thing that I heard is like when you're with your friends or like when you're at like maybe a club, people will be like taking tons of pictures, but they're not being present. So that means they're trying to show an image. This is what social media does. They try to show an image to the public. They're enjoying themselves, but you don't really know what's going on.
Absolutely.
And if you're too busy, if you really have to show the public that you're enjoying yourself, are you really enjoying yourself?
That's it.
So like, I'm not a big, like, I used to be a big social person. Now I'm like more of like a little introverted now. You know, that's what kind of being overseas did to me. Be a little isolated, like, you know, separating myself from people. And now I'm like, analyze everything. Like I said, pay attention to small details. And now I see like people always posting, always doing this. I'm like, you know, social media always lies to you.
Right.
And so, like, it always plays a big role into, like, short attention span. And it also plays a fake role in, like, making kids, make them feel like they don't got what they have, what they want, or what they need.
And that mask that you're talking about, putting on that mask.
Well, I think also it's a very interesting subject because it's also mental health. Everything else that's around it is.
Yeah.
So many of us get caught up, and it's funny to me that we always miss this. If you get in a car, the rearview mirror is only this big.
Yeah.
And if you constantly keep looking in that rearview mirror, you're going to have a train wreck going forward. But if you're, it's like, what story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself a lie? Are you telling yourself something that's going to shift your environment? And as you begin to quit looking in the rearview mirror and look ahead, and then if you've got somebody great like Alistair that coaches youth, that helps and everything else, that are coaches businesses or working with Miracle Farms, whatever, we're always looking in the forward to make sure we're changing lives. Now in the present, the past is past.
Yeah, the past is gone. You can't touch it.
Can't fix that. But what we can do is try to fix the present, the future, and the legacy.
Yeah, and try to take the past.
And looking ahead. And so the past is I've gained the weight. Now the present, the future is I've got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Another thing, it's hard to have gratitude for what it is that you have when you're looking at what other people and you're constantly comparing to what other people have, right?
Yeah. Right.
There's always more stuff to get. There's always a faster car, a bigger house, and everything else like that. But at some point, you got to stop and give gratitude for what it is that you currently have.
And that's something that I really learned this Sunday. Like, it's just like I already knew to do that, but like God's always going to give you reminders because you can always lose yourself. And the guy said, no matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter if going through hell, and like always thank God, because when you can do that, and I think that's why I've been so fruitful because, like I said, it started from the bottom. I literally had nothing, but I always told God, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's where I'm from, where I started is where I am now. And when I tell people, they're like, how? Like, it's because, I put my faith in the God. I can say all my hard work is that, but God put those thoughts into my head. He's the one who articulated every situation, me meeting you, me meeting my other coaches, and me being here in this situation now. So, like, just showing gratitude is, like, the biggest role into playing into being extremely fruitful.
And things that you have, like a mom that will invest in you.
Yeah.
Shout out to your mom.
Yeah,
right?
my mom is.
Yeah, because she worked hard to be able to make sure it is that she supported your vision, your dream, and everything else like that, and always put the right people in front of you. I was blessed to have the same type of parents that if they didn't know, they put me with people who it is that I know. And that's why I love mentorship so much, because I know how much it's meant to me and how much it means to so many different people. Just taking a second. So kind of a challenge to the people who it is that are watching. If you have a skill set, if you have a talent, if you have something that you're really good at, mentoring a young person, even just taking a little bit of time to give them a little bit of advice, you don't know how that ripple effect is going to happen and how that can completely, totally change their life. So I really encourage you to be able to look for ways to be able to mentor. Side note, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward to you, I want to get some of the stuff that you're doing now, right? And so you have a t-shirt company. When I first met you, you just started your brand. You did your first drop whenever I first met you, right? And getting it out. I was one of the people that bought a shirt, right?
Yeah,
and so
number one supporter.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about that shift to entrepreneurship and how that happened.
So my mom, like I said, like shout out to my mom because she's like one of the hardest workers I know. She's like just like me, has a really good work ethic, obsessive work ethic. And so she was like, no, you should do something with your art, and this was during COVID as well. That's when I started, like, I did, like, little drops for people. Like, I did, like, a family reunion for a family. And then I also did some other stuff, and I made T-shirts for my mom as well. Like, I also did something recently for her. And so after that, I was like, God, like, I used to do these little Japanese, I was really into Japanese designs. And so that was my first little thing. It was called Inwin. And so after that, I was in school, and like when the class that you met me in, and God was speaking to me. He's like, divine grace, divine grace, divine grace. I was like, what does this mean? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, divine grace. And so sometimes when God gives me a vision, I sketch it out. And so after I sketched it out, it had little wings on it and a divine grace, and it had a little scripture. And it was about being courageous and strong. And that was something that I was struggling with in the past, and then I had obtained it when I was a senior because I was captain. I had to be strong for my teammates. And so when I applied that to it, I was like, this could be a fire T-shirt. Why not make a sub dot for I was going to say Now, in Win Productions, because it's a production, my production, Noah Windham's production, and I was going to do a side project called Divine Grace, where it's called about spreading the word of God and the gospel, because I feel like that's something that is really struggled in my generation, and Lord, like people try to look down upon it, which is like really dumb to me, because like
backwards, right?
yeah, like come on, like I feel like people don't talk about it enough. Like I feel like it's like something that if someone is artistic and they have like a vision, I feel like that's the perfect timing for God to let that person and he go through that person and take his God's vision and put it out however he wants you or articulates it. And so that's what I started doing. So I started making a lot of selling my clothes, making a lot of money at school. And so I was getting my brand out. So at this point, everybody's wearing my stuff at school. And then I had a little, Miss Burke did a little event. Shout out to Miss Burke. So she helped me as well. She helped me set up the little, I wasn't even in her class. And she helped me make shirts in the makerspace, and I wasn't even in her class, so it was a blessing for her to do that for me and Mr. Mackey as well. Yes. And so after they even held an event, they said you can set your stuff up. Miss Height said I can put my art in there, and she also said I can apply my T-shirts, and so I sold a bunch of T-shirts there too, and so really I was just really growing my brand. Everybody knew my stuff. Everybody's wearing my stuff. I had people text me even after I was graduated. They said, "Hey man, I just saw someone wearing your shirt." I'm like, "Oh really? That's awesome." I was like, it makes me feel good because like someone's still wearing my shirt.
And it's a faith-based shirt that has a message.
It was an older guy like you who bought your shirt.
Yeah, that was it. I was rocking it, right? Because it had a message. It wasn't just a T-shirt. It was a T-shirt with the message for young people, and you turned it into a brand at the high school. I mean, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I put wings on it because if you want to fly high, you want to be courageous. You don't have wings. If you gotta pursue what you want to, and if you want to do that, you have to be able to. You gotta reach different elevations and fly high, basically. So that's the whole little message with that. And then I had a second one that had chains on it, and it was about unbroken faith, and so that's what I call that shirt. So what's it called? The whole idea behind that, I was like trying to build upon my faith. That was really about me after I made that shirt. And so after I made that shirt, it was about me building my faith, having no broken faith. Because a lot was going on my senior year with like me being a captain, me trying to...
We kind of skimmed over that. So you come in your senior year, new coach, right? So now you had somebody else that you had to impress, right?
Yeah.
You hadn't had any playtime your junior year. So how'd you go from that to captain of the team?
So like... Already, my coach, like I said, the coach that was with me after I met the player, he came from Allen. I used to play for this Mexican league team called FC Juarez, and then I upgraded along the way, and that's how they sent me overseas. But I played for their youth team, and so after that, he told me, he said, "Be talk. Make sure you're yelling. Make sure you're talking to your team. Make you talking to your team." And so when I was playing my junior year, my senior year, I was always talking.
So pause with me just a minute. When you're talking to your team, you're talking encouragement, right?
Yeah.
And so that even goes back to just everyday life.
Yeah.
If you maybe you have somebody that you sit next to at work, or maybe you have somebody that you live next to and are going through, and you don't really know what people are going through. Maybe your encouragement or your phone call could keep somebody from committing suicide.
Yeah.
Or mentoring them or helping them get over the hump. And so, I just wanted to throw that in there. It's not trash talking or it's talking down to somebody. Yeah. It's actually being an encourager.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I, every time I talk to, I feel like ever since I stopped talking as much, because like I said, when going overseas, I became isolated. When I started talking to people, my words became more meaningful because they were more articulated in my brain. So when I started speaking them out loud, they were like, "Dang, you just told me something that's really real." Because in my generation, people will be fake, they will lie, But I feel like I want to be the person that's going to be like, let's elevate each other. We can be selfish at points, but at the end of the day, we all want to go to heaven. We don't want to go down there. So let's elevate each other. So it's really good that you said that because I really think about that all the time.
Well, as you begin to change your story.
Yeah.
What story you're telling? I grew up with a mom that everything that come out of her mouth was negative.
Yeah.
And she's, I believe, in heaven now. But that situation was a vocabulary choice that she made that was because of how her mother died at a young age and everything else. And the food was a stress relief and everything was just da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And you have to find that point in life that you pull that mask off and you say, no matter
No
what,
more.
I'm going to make
Yeah.
my ceiling become my floor. And when all of a sudden you make your ceiling become your floor and your wings spread like
Yes,
on
sir.
that shirt of yours,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden the sky's the limit.
Yes,
You
sir.
see a plane take off, that plane that's got the capability of flying at 35 or 40,000 feet.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay at 10,000 feet.
It keeps
That
elevating.
American Airlines plane, it does, or whatever it may be, it booms, bounces, and it climbs. It doesn't go there instantly, it climbs. And so I
Yeah.
think it's the same thing with your life, all of our lives is, as you begin to live that life with a gratitude attitude,
Yeah.
you start to climb. And as you begin to climb, then you have to be aware who's speaking into your life.
Yeah.
What are you letting speak into you, and who are you letting speak into you? Because they can easily deter you from where your
true.
God destinations
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, absolutely.
People do that a lot. They can take you away from. So it's you have to be very careful who you put yourself around, who you surround yourself around. So seeking God will really help you bring the right people around you.